Have you guys read that short story called The Egg by Andy Weir? I'm going to tell you guys about this story today. Hopefully there's no spoilers. It's a short story. It's pretty interesting. I'm going to summarize it very quickly here today. So what the story's about is there's this guy that gets in a car crash and dies, and then he goes up to heaven and he's talking with God. And he's like, "What happened, God? And God's explaining everything that happened. You died in a car crash, dude. I'm so sorry. Your family's going to be chilling. Don't stress about it." And then he's like, "Well, what's happening now? Am I in heaven? Am I in hell? What are we doing here from here on out, you know?" And God is like, "Listen to me here. This is going to blow your mind." So he tells this guy that he's actually going to be reincarnated into another human being. And the guy's like, "No way, that's crazy. Some people on earth actually believed in reincarnation. That's so interesting that it's going to happen." And then God said, "Yeah, you're going to be reincarnated as a little girl back in 1600s or something like this, back in time." So the guy's like, "What? This doesn't make sense. I thought I was going to be reincarnated as a born baby, like right now, this very moment, as soon as I die." And then God's like, "Nah, here's what happens. There is actually no other people on earth. It is just you. You're born, you live your life, you die, and then you get reincarnated as someone else. You're born, you live, you die, and then you do that over and over until you live everybody's life on earth for all of history. From the first human being to the last human being, you are the person that has lived through all of this." And the cool thing about this is the guy's like, "No way. That means I was my wife. That means I am my kids. That means I was Hitler. I was Jesus. I was all these people that committed very atrocious things or very good things. I was all these people at the same time." And God's like, "Yes. Every time you do something good, you're doing it to yourself. Every time you do something bad, you are doing it to yourself. And after you complete all of history, you've lived everyone's life, then you can move on to the next stage because you're going to have all the knowledge of all of humanity into your single mind. But you're not going to remember this once you get reincarnated. You're just going to be living as a regular human being." So the story goes on. There's some other interesting stuff that happens, but this is the main thing that I want to talk to you guys about today. It's very cool. And it got me thinking about something in physics, which is called the single electron theory. This is a little bit similar. You might see why or how. And I'll explain this as well, and you guys can make your own decision if these two stories are similar in any way. So in physics, there's this subatomic particle called the electron. It is part of electricity and magnetism. Anything that gets charged, you got electrons flowing through the wire. Anything that is a real solid object, there's electrons in there holding forces together. All this type of shit. There's so many electrons everywhere. Any object you hold, any piece of air that you breathe in, there's electrons in it. There's other things too, but mainly electrons. So it turns out people started exploring electrons and seeing what they're made of, seeing their charge, all this type of shit. And they find out that the electron has the same exact mass, no matter which electron. You could take an electron from Europe and an electron from South America and compare them. They're going to have the same exact mass. They don't know exactly the size of the electron. People are still trying to figure that out. People think it's a point particle. People think it's a cloud. It doesn't really matter in this case. But they have determined its mass. And they see that the mass is exactly the same. They found out that the mass is the same for all these decimal places. It's super precise. It's the same fucking mass for all electrons. Another interesting thing is the electron has a charge, the electric charge. There are charged particles in this world, and the electron has a negative charge with a specific Coulomb value, and it is also measured extremely precise with many, many decimal places. The cool thing is, every electron on this earth has the same exact charge. It has the same charge, it has the same mass, and it looks exactly the same. What this means is if you pick an electron and then you pick another one, you don't know how to tell them apart. They might be the same electron because it's very hard to trap an electron in a box and be like, okay, this is this is electron number 1, and then pick another electron and say this is electron number 2. It's almost the same electron. And this is where the single electron theory comes in. There is a theory that the universe is made up of one electron, just one, the same electron. That's why it has the same mass and the same charge everywhere. And what happens is, at the start of the universe, this electron travels, lives through time, does its shit, you know, is part of some cup of water here, is part of some clump of air over there, whatever. It's living its life and it's moving through the universe. When the universe ends, this electron goes back in time. There's some crazy stuff that happens. People think it becomes a positron because it's going back in time. Its charge has to be negative or inverse of the original electron. And then it hits the beginning of the universe, where it again goes forward, acting as the second electron. And it does this an infinite amount of times, however many times there are electrons in this universe. And throughout its journey, it interacts with itself, right? I'm made of like billions and jillions and quintillions, however many endless number of electrons. And so are you, and so is this camera, and so is everything that you look at, any solid object, any matter that you can touch and breathe and eat. It has electrons in it. And they're all the same charge and the same mass. So people think, I don't know, people, somebody on the internet made this theory up. But it is a pretty striking theory because it's the same exact electron. It looks like you can't distinguish it. So people think this electron is the same and it travels back and forth. And as it travels back and forth and lives these multiple lifetimes, it interacts with itself and it creates matter. So it kind of reminds me of the story of the egg. You go back and forth in time, you live all these people's lives, and there's nobody else, it's just you. You're living, and you don't really know you're the other person in front of you. This is just a theory, who fucking knows what happens after death. But this is strikingly similar to the egg. You could think of yourself as this single electron going back and forth in time, interacting with yourself and not even knowing it. And looking at the picture of the world, it's kind of cool how every time the electron passes through and interacts with itself, it kind of interweaves with all these electrons around itself and creates everything that you see. I think it's kind of similar to the egg story. I think it's kind of similar to all of us being the same person and all of us interacting with ourselves and not even knowing it. What do you guys think? Let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed this story. Let me know if you want to see more little physics stories like this on this channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you found it interesting, take a look at this YouTube video. It's a great telling of the egg story. You're gonna love it. It's very, very visual too. Amazing animations. Check out this song by Logic. It is also hilarious and basically the same exact story. And if you want to read the original by Andy Weir, by the way, Andy Weir is the guy that wrote The Martian. If you've seen The Martian movie, that's the fucking author. Just search on Google, Andy Weir the Egg. The whole PDF is for free. You could read that whole shit if you want to. If you're interested in the single electron theory, just Google search that. You can read about it too. It's not a real theory. I mean, it's a funny thing to talk about, but it's not like a thing physicists talk about unless they're like drinking beers in the hot tub or something. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see in other videos. Peace out.